Hi everyone, I'm Lisa. Welcome to Lisa's Stamp Studio. Today's card is a little different. It's revolving around a superhero. And not just any hero, an everyday hero, because that's the name of the stamp set I've used to create this card. You can definitely see it has a wow factor included, because those words are all part of the stamp set, along with some other really great images. You can make superhero guys and girls, and there's a great skyline included with words for all types of things. A great way to say thank you for that someone that's come to your rescue. Remember that I'll include pictures along with a supply list over on my blog, so head over there when you're done watching the video. I've included the link down below for you in the description so you can find it easily. But let's get over to the stamp table and let's get started. Here's our superhero card. I think you can see that glimmer of the wink of Stella now that I'm turning it in front of the camera a little bit better. Isn't he cute? So let's go over how to put this card together. I'm going to start with basic grade cardstock. We're going to start by folding that in half. Remember, you're going to find the cutting dimensions over on my blog. The link is right down below in the description of the video, so you can get there easily. Bone folder to make that nice crisp crease. I'm going to use Memento ink because it's a photopolymer stamp. I am really partial to Memento with photopolymer. I find that it cleans up really well, and I've had no trouble personally coloring anything in, even though it's a water-based ink. So I'm going to ink up the skyline that's part of this stamp set. You know what? Let me take a second here and show you this. It is so cute. Look at all the fun pieces. Guys and girls, and of course all different verbiage, great for Mother's Day and Father's Day. Different capes, and of course you've got a lovely little spotlight here. The samples in the catalog for this are really cute too. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ink this up. Now you're going to see here I'm inking it this way. Do you see what's happening? I'm actually missing some areas because the stamp is almost the same size as the ink pad. So I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to ink it face up. I find I get better coverage that way. Nothing worse than thinking it's inked and it's not. And I'm going to start all the way down here at the bottom to do my skyline. And I'm going to press larger long stamps. You're going to want to give it a little bit of love and trace out your image. Okay, and I'm going to ink it one more time. Again, face up because I want to make sure I don't miss anything. And we're going to line this up over here. And nice, firm, even pressure. Remember, you got to trace out that image. This is a bigger stamp. All right, so now we've got our skyline. Let's move on to the rest of the card. I'm going to use a scrap of Whisper White cardstock to do my little superhero. The pieces are separate. So we've got the head, we've got the cape, and we've got the body. My experience is start with the head. I found it's easier to attach the body by stamping the head first. So we're going to stamp the head here. And now we have the body, and then there's two different forms of the body. There's one standing up, and this one's actually flying. I know it's probably kind of hard to see, so I'm going to ink that one up. And then because it's photopolymer, you're going to be able to line this up very easily. Okay, so now we've got our body, and then our cape. So I'm placing that here and press. So I've got my cape. I've got a myriad of markers here, so let me tell you what I've got. I've got Blushing Bride for the skin. Pacific Point. I've got Basic Black, and I'm going to show you something cool we're going to do with that. I'm going to set that aside. Soft Suede for his hair. This is Crushed Curry, Basic Gray, and Real Red. So let's start by coloring him in. I like to start with the lightest color first. That's just a Lisa thing. You can do whatever works for you. So I'm going to start with his face, and I'm a tracer. I don't know about you, but when I color, I tend to like to trace the outline first and then color in the rest. If this is too dark for you, then you can use an aqua painter with your ink pad. That'll give you a little bit lighter tone of the same color. And then his neck. And I think we're all set. We got the hands and the neck. All right, the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna give him some hair. And I use the soft suede for that one. You know what I forgot? I forgot his ears. Do you see that? All right, let's go back and get his ears. He's got a little bit of an ear here, and he's got a little bit of an ear here. The next color I'm going to use on him is going to be the Pacific Point. So this is going to be his mask. And as dark as this marker is, I found it doesn't really cover up the black really well. So that's good. You're going to still see those eye slits in there. I'm also going to color in his shorts, his little Speedo shorts. I don't know what they call those. Next is the Crushed Curry. This is going to be for his tights. And I'm going to color in his cape. So again, remember I told you I'm an outliner. So I'm going to outline I don't know, when Boo was little, that's my daughter, you know, I'd love to color with her when she was little. But, you know, after like 5 minutes, like any kid, they're like, oh, I've had enough. And they move on to something else. And I'd be like, well, my picture isn't done yet. I'm going to go back over this area right here where the crease is. Do you see when you go back over it with the marker, you can actually get a little bit darker repetition of that color. Here comes our real red. This is going to be for his shirt. And I'm going to color that in. Not much to trace here, but I'm going to trace down the side here. I'm not as close as I normally would be when I color, so please give me a little forgiveness here. I forgot his belt buckle, so I'm going to go back with the curry and just fill that in. And then his boots. This is where I used the basic gray. I didn't want them to be black. I didn't want them to be darker than the actual cardstock that I was going to put this on. So I'm going to fill that in. Okay. Now we're ready to fussy cut. Yes, I know what you're probably thinking. There's no die. No, there isn't a die, but I'm going to give you a couple tips. First of all, cut down the paper so it's easier for you to maneuver. Second thing is, don't be afraid to leave a little bit of white paper around it. Now, I know some of you are thinking, oh, that's going to look terrible. Well, I've got a tip to show you with that black marker that's going to help. And the areas in here with these paper snips are easy to get around. So I'm just going to go around and around here. And again, leaving a little bit of white cardstock as I go. You don't ever want to cut right on the stamped image. When you do that, you actually reduce the size the image appears to be. So I'm going to actually skip that part and come back to it in a second. And I'm going to go around here, get rid of some of this other paper that might be in my way. And then around the cape. And then back around here. You can see this takes just under a minute. But you know what? My superhero's worth it. It's cute stuff, isn't it? All right, and then over here. These would be great for kids' birthday parties too. All right, so let's talk about in here. I found working backwards is better. Look at than trying to go this way with my hand. So I just worked in backwards, and then I'm going to come back up over here to create a little bit of a notch so I can get that off. Again, a little bit of a white area is not a problem. Here is where the black marker is going to come in. If we were to hold this against here, you can see how the white is pretty predominant, right? I have found that this greatly reduces that white appearance by going around the edges, but you have to do it from the back. Ask me how I know this. I did it from the front and I totally messed up my image. So I'm just going to bring the marker around where I can reach. And I'm going around the head. And I'm going around his ears. Okay, you're going to do this all the way around. And you can see I'm trying really hard just to keep it to this side, because I don't want to mar the coloring from the front. The great thing about the Stampin' Right markers with Stampin' Up! Is the tip is really nice and chiseled from what you can see. Makes using it sideways really, really easy. And we're going to go back here across his hand. All right, so here we go. We've got our little guy. But do you see? It has helped. It has helped quite a bit by break down some of that starkness of the white. All right, so now we've got our superhero. Let's go ahead and put on our sentiment. Push that aside. Going back to my Memento ink pad, I'm going to use this great little expression here for my wow. I'm going to ink that face up as well, because you can see that it's very, very large. So I'm going to ink that up. All right, I'm going to put that here on an angle and press. Big, firm stamp, so lots of even pressure. You want to make sure you get the whole image out. Don't be afraid to take your time. All right, so there we've got that. I'm going back with the words. This is the word that says wow. It's an outline. I'm going to ink this up, and I'm going to stamp that here a little bit towards the bottom. I want to leave a little bit of words to add that little bit of a sentiment above there. And the sentiment I'm adding says, you'll always be my, and of course it says, wow, you'll always be my wow. I'm going to stamp that here. This stamp set has a two-step stamp, which means one image fits inside the other. And you can see that it has an outline to it. So this one mimics this one. And it being photopolymer, which are clear stamps, makes the alignment easy. I opted to go with the chalk marker just because I wanted this to be able to dry really quickly. And the white craft ink is pigmented and it dries very slowly. So I'm going to take my chalk marker and I'm going to outline down here. I'm going to come across here and then I'm going to come across here. And then I'm going to do the other side of my W. I love the chalk marker too. It adds a little bit of a fun aged look to this. I'm going to add a little here, and I'm going to mimic the same places I put it on this one for my W. All right, so now I have that little outline. Isn't that fun? Last but not least, I'm going to use Versamark ink and this little tiny star that's inside the stamp set. I want to add a little bit of a starry night to this appearance. Now, Versamark ink is a watermark ink. It actually is clear. Now, mine's been used quite a bit and it's loved, so the pigmentation of the pad is slightly different, but it doesn't affect the pad, and it is re-inkable. But what it does is it actually stains or leaves a watermark on the pad, and this is great if you don't have all the color ink pads. You can purchase this with your stamps, and it's actually going to be tone on tone. So little tiny stamps. So I'm going to control how hard I push because I don't want to get it around the negative areas. And then I'm just going to stamp a few stars, just to give this a little bit of a background. And you can see that it's already starting to turn the paper to that watermark appearance. Really a fun ink pad. It's also great to use perfectly with heat embossing. So if you want to add heat embossing to your project, that is the ink of choice. So there we go. We've got some stars. You can see how I hung some off the edges to get that wallpaper kind of 3D look. Really important that you clean your stamp right after you use it. It's a very sticky ink and you don't want to leave it on there. All right, let's put our Wink of Stella on next, and that's going to be that little bit of pizzazz. Wink of Stella here, and it's going to be a continual flow of some sparklies once you get it started. I've got a video that shows you how to use it the first time, so head over there and check it out. You can type in Lisa's Stamp Studio Wink of Stella, and it'll come right up here on YouTube. And the first time it comes with a protective seal around it, so you're going to have to take it off and then prime the pen. Now this has an alcohol base to it, so you're going to see that it looks kind of wet, but what's going to happen is as it dries, it's going to just dissipate. You can see it already starting to evaporate, so it'll leave me just that little bit of a shimmer. Once it's dry, if you want more, you can go back over it. So now we've got our superhero. Let's flip him upside down. And I have some of these. Do you know what these are? These are dimensionals that I literally just cut in half on the paper. And I keep them in my stamp studio because of little things just like this. Big dimensionals often can hang over the edges, and I wanted to make sure, I'm going to add one more, and I wanted to make sure that they didn't peek out the sides. And then I'm going to take off that paper backing. I have small nails, so I'm going to just press here in the center, which is going to help lift the edges. So there's that one, and then the last one here. And then I'm going to determine where I want him flying. I'm going to say I want him flying pretty low overhead my city. There we go. Cute, 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 huh? Really cute. And here's the original one, the one I made before you joined me. Thanks so much for being here, everyone. Remember to head over to my blog and check out the pictures. And of course, you can find online classes there as well. And don't forget to check out my rewards section. I offer some awesome exclusive rewards for your online orders. Thanks for joining me, everyone. I'll see you next time.